Fylde Coast Flips.
Hi, welcome to the video. Hope everybody out there is doing well. In this one I thought I would take you through some of the items I've sold on eBay over the last 6 months. We're going to have some of my best sales, some like maybe more unusual items, and some bread and butter things that sell routinely. I've got over 100 items here to show you, so I'm going to get straight to it. And I'm also going to take you on a little trip around the Fylde coast. While I do it, it's been absolutely pouring it down. I've been trying to shoot this video for a week, nearly a week, and every single day it's been pouring it down. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna have to just come out and do it today. Okay, the first item today is this Le Creuset terrine loaf dish. I picked this up from a boot sale for only £3 and it sold for $39.99 plus postage. The next is this Cadbury's Dairy Milk Hornby dispenser. I picked this up from Clitheroe boot sale, indoor boot sale. Well, it was an indoor boot sale, but it was actually outside of the indoor boot sale. And it was only a couple of quid, I think, maybe even £1. And I had no idea that these were worth as much as they are, but some people managed to get like 50, 60 quid for these. And next is a Fylde backpack, and I bought this from a boot sale for only £1. Now it was in a bit rough condition, it still had its tag though, but it's all discoloured, and I had to give it a really good clean, and it still came up a little bit kind of yellowed on that like belly of it. But I still managed to get $124.99 plus postage on it, going over to the USA, and it was up for a few weeks before it sold. Not too much interest, to be honest, to begin with, but kept the price as it was, and there you go, $124.99 plus postage. Obviously it's probably gone to a collector out there, and yeah, good one. I mean, how often are you going to find such a thing? Probably very rarely, but anything Fylde that's back, you know, the original times that they came out, anything Fylde is pretty much worth picking up, as long as you can get it cheap enough, obviously. And this one is pretty good as well. Yeah Designs Limited Dragon Pottery. I had never heard of this, never seen them out there, never heard of it. It's a vintage made in England thing, and I think it's one of those things that you either love or you hate, because I thought they were really quite nice, but everybody else, including the shop workers, are a bit like, don't really like it. So I got it from a charity shop. I paid 20 quid for it, and I got £100 plus postage. And this was rare, this one, and nobody else out there had this up. Couldn't find any sold listings, couldn't find anybody selling it, not on eBay, not anywhere online. They did have another couple, but they were both slightly damaged and they were more expensive. Right, I think we're going to move. Right, I think we're going to move on. It's pouring it down. I'm freezing. I don't even know if you guys can hear me because it's so loud here right now with the wind. So let's move on to somewhere else on the Fylde coast that's hopefully a bit nicer than here. The next is this. It's a WWE John Cena kind of dress up plush head fist thing, and I actually bought 3 of these from Aldi on a complete whim. It was around Christmas time and they were £15 each. I had a quick look online and saw that people were managed to sell them for decent money, so I put them up quite high and they weren't going, so I lowered them down a bit, and 2 of the 3 have sold. This one went for $37.50 plus postage, so 15 into $37.50 plus postage. I reckon you're going to see these at the boot sales this year, so keep an eye out for them. I don't know if they're going to keep their value or not, but as far as I can see, I don't think, like Aldi where I bought them from, are going to be running them again, but who knows. I suppose if they did well enough, they might sell them again. And next is this vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bowl, and, or was it a plate? Plate, sorry. I've got a bowl as well, which is actually mine from my childhood, but I don't think I'm going to sell that. This is the plate, exactly the same design, but the plate version, which I found out there, I can't remember where. It's actually Hornsey branded. Yeah, I know, I remember now. It was a charity shop. I remember the charity shop because I remember I did a video where I mentioned it, and it's actually a Hornsey branded thing. I had no idea, even though I had the bowl version when I was a kid. But $34.99 plus postage is what I got for it, and I wouldn't have paid a lot, a couple of quid maybe, something like that. Proper vintage 1990s. by the way, the reason I'm doing this video is that a lot of people always ask me to do these kind of videos because they are very handy. It's handy to know what other people are selling, and I guess a lot of YouTube videos out there, reselling YouTube videos, like the content's there but it's buried amongst a load of other stuff, isn't it? So this is like just a standalone video of the kind of stuff that I sell, and a lot of it, you know, I find a lot of one-off type of things, so it's not, you know, there's no guarantee that you're going to find it out there yourself, but at least, you know, you got a chance, right? There's some decent stuff here that does come up again and again, and hopefully you guys, when you're out and about, like trying to find stuff to resell, you see some of these things out there and they sell well for you. And next is this Twirly Woos boat, $34.99 plus postage is what I got on it. And this is the second one I've sold in the last few weeks. The first one wasn't working properly, so I didn't get a lot for it, 15, 18 quid, something like that. But this one went for $34.99 plus postage, which is not bad. Next we have Pikachu. It's a bubble bath container, $39.99 plus postage is what I got for it. This is from that bundle of bubble baths that I got from a boot sale. I can't remember off the top of my head how much I paid for the lot. I think it was something like, was it 15 quid, maybe 20 at the most. Don't think it was more than that. And I sold a Sonic the Hedgehog one for pretty good money, but not as much as this one, which went for $39.99 plus postage. Really good on that. Still had its tag, did actually have some bubble bath in it, but I drained it out because it had been opened. And next is a chrome utility belt Buzz Lightyear. This went for £50 plus postage. Now this had issues. The buttons, a couple of the buttons weren't working quite right. They kind of worked, but they were a bit fiddly to kind of get them to do what they were supposed to do. And also there was the backpack that covers the battery compartment was missing. So even though it had these issues, it still sold just before Christmas for £50 plus postage. I think that went internationally, possibly the USA. Now this is a good one. I only recently picked these up. I don't think it made it into a video. It was just before Christmas, but I got a load of vintage English Heritage and National Trust mugs, proper vintage 80s, 90s. They were all from different sites from around the UK. And somebody from America said, I collect these, can I just buy 7 of them? I had 19 up, a bundle of 19. I did think about selling them singly, but I didn't want to go down that route, not with these, so I just thought I'd bundle them all up. He said, can I have these 7? And I'll pay 10 quid each. So that's 70 quid plus postage, and I'm more than happy with that. I paid £5 for the lot. And I even got the 20th mug, which was a Beamish mug, which I gave to my partner for Christmas. So, hey, that was a good one. I pick up a lot of mugs, not all of them are worth this kind of money. And the others I've got a bundle of the rest of them, which is what, 12 up for about 50 quid. And there's been a bit of interest in them already as well. So who knew English Heritage, National Trust mugs have a little bit of money in them, as long as you can get them cheap enough. But if you see them out there at like boot sales for like 10, 20, even 50p each, it might be worth you picking them up. Next we have a bit of Port Merion. I love my Port Merion. It's a fairly new brand to me, really. I've only been picking it up for maybe a couple of years now, and I've done really well. I had a bread bin that did really well. Anyway, this is a watering can one, bit of an unusual one. This one really, I've never seen this out there before, never seen it since. $31.99 plus postage. Sat for quite a while though before it sold. Not all Port Merion's worth a great deal. You best kind of look out there at what is good and what's not, because some of it's pretty good, some of it not so much. This was quite a nice one, I thought. Not many people agreed, apart from the person who eventually bought it, I guess. But this went for £23.59 over to somebody in America, and plus postage. And this came with some tea, coffee, sugar spode jars that went for really good money. They went for really good money. This, not so much, you know, that's not bad though. I didn't pay a lot for the lot. I think it was about 10, maybe £12 for a boot sale. It wasn't a lot at all. Next is this Donald Duck car, which went for $29.99 plus postage. I got this as part of the big Donald Duck set that I got from a boot sale. I paid, I don't know, 50, 60 quid or something for a load of it, and this was one of the items. The boxes were a bit battered on some of it. It was all similar kind of stuff, like little figures, some like vintage, like Bullylands, like 80s, 70s, 80s figures. There was some cars that were in boxes like this. There was some loose stuff, and the vast majority I've sold it. This one is a game called Pyramid, and I sold this once a few weeks ago and then they immediately cancelled, and then somebody else bought it. £25 plus postage. I have no idea at all where I bought this from. I really could not tell you. Probably from a charity shop. I don't think I got it from a boot sale. Probably from a charity shop at some point. I don't know, 2, 3, 4 quid. It wouldn't have been a lot. It's not a game that I know, so it would have been a case of me either looking it up or thinking it's only a couple of quid, let's give it a chance. And that's what I did. I think it was missing a couple of pieces, but nothing major. This was from a few months back. It's a vintage Boddington's Strange Race Brewery tankard. Got this from Fleetwood, $24.99 plus postage. Here we got a Marks & Spencer's M&S Harvest Kitchen utensil set. This surprised me with how much it went for. It went for $39.99 plus postage. Got it from a boot sale for £3 or £4. Needed a little bit of a clean up. It's kind of a little bit like corroded in a couple of places, but it cleaned up pretty well. And 40 quid. I'm guessing, has somebody bought this to actually use it, or will it be more like a prop, a set prop or something like that? Alright, say bye to the big one up there. Plush Beach isn't open at the moment, out of season. Definitely going to get there myself this year with my kids. My kids are now kind of tall enough to go on some of the better, bigger rides, so definitely going to get here soon. Let's continue on to the next place on the Fylde coast. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of show you guys around a little bit, show you a few different places. And I know a lot of people like Blackpool, a lot of people come here on holiday and stuff. A lot of people who watch, I know, used to live here. Quite a few people have told me that. Next we got this, $29.99 on this Fisher Price vintage Power Workshop. Now I had this same one when I was a kid. When I saw it at the charity shop, I was like, yes, I'm going to get this for my kids. Bought it, gave it to my kids. I think I gave it to my youngest for one of his birthdays. He like hated it. Not just didn't play with it, he hated the thing. I tried him with it again a few months later and he weren't bothered, so I sold it. It was one of those things, you know, it's nostalgia for me, but to him it's just another toy. It doesn't matter, he didn't care about it. $29.99 plus postage is not a bad price for it. I paid about £4 or £5 from a charity shop near to me where I live. And this Patagonia bum bag, my partner bought me this for my birthday, but unfortunately it doesn't fit. I'm a larger person and this was quite small, so yeah, didn't fit. Never going to fit, not in a million years. Not in a million years, so I thought I'd sell it. She only paid about 15 quid for it, sold it on eBay for 30 plus postage, so there you go, little profit. That's the thing about selling on eBay, you know, the stuff that you don't want anymore, the Christmas presents you don't want, you can easily list them up and sell them off. And next is a pasta maker. We've got £35 plus postage on this. It's not very often I see these out there, and when I do see them and I look them up, I find that they're not really worth that much for the ones I find anyway, but this one was, and £35 plus postage is not too bad. Next is this Castlevania Volume 2 Curse of Darkness graphic novel, just a like little small one. This was part of the big bundle of manga stuff that I got from a charity shop around the time that I went full-time reselling, and some of it sold really quick, as is always the case when you get big bundles of stuff. Some of it went quick, some of it was really valuable and went for good money. Some of it is, you know, not going for quite as much as I thought it would. I've broken even and gone into profit on the whole lot. And next is this. This is a good one because I only paid £1 for it. I went to a charity shop and I was buying some stuff and I just looked to my side, and in their kind of storeroom was a Guitar Hero drum box, and I just said to her, I said, oh, I don't suppose you got like any guitars, because I don't really mess with the drum kits, to be honest. So she went in, she dug it out, she said it's been there for months, and she got it out, and I was like, she's like, no, there's no guitars, just the drums. I was like, oh, right, okay. She's like, do you know what, you can have it for £1, I'm sick of seeing it. I was like, right, okay. And then I got it, and I kept it for months, because I just don't like lifting the drum kits. I don't know why, I do not know why, because at the end of the day, it took me like 10 minutes to test it, and then listed it up, and it sold almost immediately for £85 plus postage. So don't sit on this stuff. Like, I know it can be a bit of a pain having to test this stuff sometimes. David Winter, Robin Hood's Hideaway cottage figure. It's like a 1987 Robin Hood like little figurine, and these are not usually worth a lot at all, this type of thing, but for some reason this one was. I got it from a charity shop, I think, for just a few quid, and I got $49.99 plus postage on it. And this was another one which I kind of left for ages before I eventually ended up listing them, and I think I could have got a bit more on these, but they'd been there for so long I didn't care at that point. I only paid a few pounds for them from a boot sale, $59.99 plus postage. They were all very, very well used, very well used. Otherwise, a couple of these would have been worth pretty good money. Still worth, you know, decent enough money when you've only paid like less than a tenner I paid for the lot. Next is this Micro Machines Super Auto World playset, £42 plus postage is what I got on this. And the reason this was worth good money was two things. One, it had its original box, and two, it had its cardboard kind of bottom piece, which often are missing. Like, I have one myself, which was my brother's from when we were kids, and my kids play with it all the time, they love it. But we don't have that cardboard bit. I never remember that cardboard bit even existing, but this one had it, and it had its box, but there were a couple of bits missing, and it didn't have any vehicles or anything, but it still went for £42 plus postage. So that was from the big Micro Machines bundle that I bought kind of this time last year, and I kind of slowly listed it. I got it listed at somewhere around the springtime, and then it's been slowly selling. A few things sold almost straight away, a few things have taken a bit longer, and now I've got almost nothing left. I think there's maybe one or two little bits left now, and that's it. The rest of it's all sold. Another Portmeirion item here. This is a cookie jar. These cookie jars don't go for that much, generally speaking. There's got to be the big fat ones like this one, and in a certain designs do better than others, but across the board generally, and if it's smaller than this jar wise, it doesn't do that great. Although I have sold like a set of 3 jars fairly recently, and they went all right, even though they were in pretty bad condition. But these from Billsborough boot sale, these didn't last long. Had loads of interest in these as soon as they were up. They were a bit larger than your usual kind of figurines. I've never seen any out there in the shops or anything this big. They're about 9.5 and 8.5 inches tall. Mario and Luigi, $36.99 plus postage. Had loads of interest. I probably could have held out and got more on these, to be honest, but hey, I paid 5 quid for the 2, so there you go, not going to complain at that. Next we have a Winnie the Pooh crockery set, and this was from a friend of mine, a local reseller who sold me these for a really good price. He did me a load of other stuff as well, but this was in with it all. He doesn't really do breakable things. I know a lot of people don't, so he knows I do, and I'm quite happy to do things like this. This sold really quickly, £45 plus postage. Oh, this is the bubble bath that I mentioned before. So I got the Pikachu one that went for 40. This is the other good one. This is like, these were the 2 best. This one's gone for £32 plus postage. It's the Sonic the Hedgehog one, and it's actually like a little kind of water game that you can play. Cool little shelf sitter for somebody out there. And then we've got all of these items that I sold to one person. I sold like a load of things to one person. Was it 28 items or something to somebody? And I was a little bit worried at the time. I actually did a video about it. It's actually titled like 28 items to one person, something like that. I've never had somebody come in and buy so much stuff, and they actually offered on maybe like another 10-15 items which we couldn't quite reach a price on, but she bought all of this, 28 items. I'm not going to go through them all. I'll obviously put them on the screen, which had good taste. Zurich plant pot, a Hornsey coral, like casserole dish which was really nice, a couple of vintage Riviera food like containers. Next we have this Pearson's of Chesterfield bread bin, $37.50 plus postage. I always pick up these Pearson's bread bins when I see them. I tend to go through phases like not seeing them for months, and then suddenly I'll see 2 or 3. Here we have a Polly Pocket 1994 Magical Mansion. It was working, had a little car which increased the value a lot. 30 quid. I paid £1 for this for a boot sale. I remember the boot sale, it was an early one this year, and I got something else from them as well that was kind of valuable. I can't think what it was now. In fact, I got a few good things from them, all really cheap, like really, really cheap. It's what you want. Like when you get to a boot sale and everything's like £1, you keep buying stuff and buying stuff and buying stuff. It was like that. I got loads of good stuff from them. And next we have a vintage Melodica. Yes, Melodica, $79.99 plus postage. I didn't even know these existed, and it sat for a while. In fact, I had it for a while before I bothered listing it. I wasn't quite sure, you know, how to fully like test it, although in the end it was very easy. I paid £12 for it, if I remember rightly, from Norcross Car Boot. And I remember the guy I bought it off and everything. I think I've got some kind of photographic memory, I don't know. I can't remember what happened yesterday, but I remember like the fine details of what happened like 8 months ago. Oh, this one was good. Traffic Department, $21.92. This was proper vintage looking, really cool looking, like graphics on it. This was £1. I got several games like this from a Norcross boot sale. Same people I bought all the combs off. Do you remember the combs? I don't know if the combs are going to feature on this list. Let's just say they've not been massively popular. I've sold a few and I've made my money back, but I thought they might have been a bit better than what they were. So anyway, same people as that, 35 quid plus postage. I think I might have one or two others on this list as well, which I'll get to as we go. So next we have this Toys R Us racing driver car cockpit simulator toy thing. Now back in the day there was an old version of this that was really good. I actually had one when I was a kid. I think it was maybe by a brand called Tomy, possibly, not 100%. This was like a Toys R Us version of it that came a few years later, I think. Had this for a while, lots and lots and lots of interest in this before it actually eventually sold, and it eventually went in July, back in July, for £40 plus postage. I found two of these at Norcross Car Boot. They were down at the bottom of somebody's table. It was later on in the boot sale. They probably shouldn't have been there. Somebody else should have bought them at that point. It was like a couple of hours into the boot sale at least. And $29.99 is what I got for this one. I got a little bit less, I think, for the other one. But I only paid, I think, £3 or £4 each for them. Next is these. Anybody remember these? These novelty ice cream cones. I really like these, kind of wanted to keep them for myself. They had a few issues as well. They weren't in perfect condition. Vintage, well used. Salt and pepper shakers is what they were. I don't know if anybody's actually going to use them for that purpose. But $34.50 plus postage. Again, this is another item that I had up for quite a while, and I had a million offers of like people wanting to get them for like really cheap. I had loads of people offering, not a lot, but I was the only person out there with anything like this for sale, so I held my ground a little bit at least. I think I had them for about 45, and I sold them eventually for £34.50 plus postage. Next is this M&S ceramic storage jar. I really like this, $21.99 plus postage, so not like the best item I've ever sold, but it was something about the design of this that I thought was really cool. And I think if you had like a set of 3, because I think this was part of like a tea, coffee, sugar set, if you had a set of 3 of these, they would go for a lot of money. And it's just such a unique design, like the little cat kind of like poking its head out at the bottom. You got like a little teapot on the top and some little like food pictures painted onto the top of the jar. And this is the other one of those small soldiers, £25 plus postage on this one, so not as much as the other one. And this Blackpool Pleasure Beach Beaver Creek 1996 commemorative plate, very cool. Kind of wanted to keep this myself. I said if it didn't sell like quick, I was going to maybe send it off to somebody I will follow on YouTube who is into their theme park like merch. I was going to send it to him, but I thought I'd list it up and see, and it went fairly quick. We've got this Henley Royal Regatta 1986 little badge. Now if you can find certain years of this that are rare, like older ones, they can be worth really, really good money, some of them, if they're in good condition. This one was a little bit kind of, you know, it wasn't perfect. It was in a big bag full of just random junk, basically. There's a load of like old bits of jewellery. None of it was worth anything. Like there was no like silver or gold or anything in there. It was just a load of like trash. A lot of it went in the bin, but there were a few bits I picked out that were good. This, 45 quid. This was one of the first boot sale of the year that I did. If you've not seen that video, go and watch it because it was a pretty good one, and it's kind of where my full-time reselling started. It was around that kind of period of time when I went full-time reselling, so go check that out. I'll either link it down in the description or I'll put something on the screen now, like the thumbnail. So we've been here in St Anne's. I've gone to the charity shops and found a few bits to resell, so that's good. Nothing kind of crazy, but a few decent bits. But we'll do a few more before we head back into Blackpool. We got these three here, these Disney tradition like little figurines. These are pretty good. £11, £111.97 is what I got for them. Now they were selling these out of Freeport for about 15 quid each, and that was like a really big reduction on them, and I was just in the right place at the right time. I just happened to be there doing a little bit of general shopping and saw that they were selling them off cheap. I bought 3, I think, of each. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them they only had 2, one of them they only had 1. So I just bought a good few, and I could have bought more. She was quite good, the manager, actually. There was another one that I thought was quite good that wasn't reduced, and she was going to do that cheap. Well, she offered to do that cheap for me as well, but it was still quite expensive. That was going to be one to keep for myself. Some of these Disney traditions, showcase figurines could be worth good money, but there is a lot of them out there, so obviously do your research before you go buying any. But yeah, for 15 quid each, that's £45 into £111.97, alright, minus the fees and everything, but still not bad, eh? Not bad. I had loads of these, and the last one sold just a few days ago, so all gone in the space of about 3 months. And one more before we carry on to the next place. Got these 2 Mason Cash cat dish bowls, £26.99 plus postage, and that's it for now. My time is up on my parking, so I have no choice but to go. But next stop is going to be, I think, Stanley Park. Yeah, let's go Stanley Park, shall we? Just arrived at Stanley Park. I'm going to quick fire a load right now because I've got loads more still to show you, so let's go. Action Man like accessory set, £44.99. I got 2 of these from a local shop, retail shop, like little independent business. This Charlie Bear, I actually bought this off the person I used to work for. He got a storage container and he had a load of stuff in there, including this, and he let me have it for, I don't know, a tenner, 15, maybe even 20, I can't remember now. Sold it for 60 plus postage. This Killer Clowns from Outer Space, £22.99 plus postage. I bought this from a boot sale for like £1 or 2, I think it was £1, and surprised me a bit. The Unexplained File Cult and the Occult. This was part of a bundle of books that I got from a boot sale for like £1 each, I think they were, and I sold this one for £44 plus postage. It was the best one out of the lot. I got this really nice bread bin. I think it's nice, £49.99 plus postage. Obviously somebody else thought it was nice, hence paying that amount of money. Price Kensington, good brand to look out for. I had this Tony Carter decorative teapot. Now I got this from a boot sale. Actually got this from the same person I bought the ice cream cones from. And next are these 2 Lighthouse ceramics, like tea light holders, and I got a big bundle of these for like a couple of quid each from a charity shop, and a few of them sold quite quick. These 2 not so much, had these for a while now, and well, I say a while now, they sold in September for £29 plus postage. Next are these pans, set of 3 Lavec brand pans. I've never heard of the brand either, but that's what they are, 60 quid plus postage. Nice wooden handles, and you know, it doesn't have to be Le Creuset or one of these high-end brands to still sell, as long as you're picking them up cheap enough and they're in good condition, nice cast iron enamel pans, and then they'll do all right. Vintage Nesta tables, bought these from a boot sale for 10 quid, sold for £50 plus postage. Right, this is a good one and definitely worth me explaining a little bit on it, because this represents a whole host of other things that are very similar. So this is a Pikmin 4 keyring, and this came along with just the regular edition of the Pikmin 4 video game when it came out in the shops. I bought it for my son as a gift, and we kept the game obviously, but this, you know, it's just a little keyring, and I thought I'll have a look online. And at the time they were selling for good money. I don't know if they still are or not. It was probably one of those time-based things, but I managed to get £31.99 for this keyring. Now the game was only, I don't know, was it 40 or 50 quid? Either way, you know, I've got £32 back just on a keyring. And there's another one coming up that's just as good in a little bit that I'm going to show you. And it's these little things like this. Like, as I say, not always are they going to be worth anything, but it's always worth a look, you know. have a look. I almost bought more of these games just to kind of get the game, and I was going to sell the game on, and I was going to sell the keyring on, and just do that and just buy a load. But I worked it out, and it was kind of worth it. But the problem is, I very much thought it was a time sensitive thing. So if you don't jump on it right away, if a couple of weeks go past after the game's come out, there might be 1,000 on eBay, do you know what I mean? And then you're stuck with all this stuff that you're not going to sell. So that was my thinking. That's why I didn't buy them all up. Next we have this Tutankhamun like figurine. It's a Shoot Hill. It's the one where the person that bought it off was like, it's from Egypt, this. And I'm thinking, it says Shoot Hill on it, but I'm pretty sure this is a British brand. I do not think it's ever gone anywhere near to Egypt before, but I could be wrong. Maybe Egypt buy them up and sell them out of their shops over there as souvenirs. I have no idea. £5 into £40 plus postage, and it's sold really quickly. Next to these little wooden chests. Now, I've sold a few of these. I think I've just picked this one out. I might have picked, there might be another one actually a bit further on. But this one went for £36.50 plus postage. I don't know what it is. These like ceramic kind of drawers in the wooden surround, little mini ones, keep you like bits and bobs in. They seem to do well for me. This is something we bought a few years ago when we moved into our house. Never really used it. £23.99 plus postage. Have no idea what it was when I bought it years ago. But it's just a little tea tray. Have your dinner on. But some of it, as I've said before, some of this IKEA stuff can do well. Some of the older stuff they don't make anymore can do really well. Next we have this set of 21 pencil sharpeners that I sold for £90 plus postage. These all went to somebody abroad. I think they were in Italy, and I had several different listings and they asked me to combine them all in. They didn't buy everything I had, but they bought quite a few of the ones I had. They were new, like they're still in the little boxes and everything. The kind of thing you'd get from like a museum shop when you went on like a school trip back in the 90s. It's that kind of thing. And next is this Wedgwood Thomas the Tank Engine set. I got this from a boot sale. I got this, and I got like a Peter Rabbit one, or Miss Tiddywinkle, or whatever she's called. I got two for a certain price. Was it £8? Was it £8 each? I can't remember off the top of my head, but this one sold for £43.99 plus postage. The other one I got up at £30. So, you know, whatever it was, we're going to be doing all right. This I had for ages. Flanimals, Complete Natural History, brand new sealed set of books. I bought this in the Lake District like a couple of years ago. It sold back in September and went for £34.99 plus postage. I think I paid about a tenner for it from a regular bookshop that are having a bit of a clearance. Here we have a Monopoly Blackpool and the Foul Coast edition, and this one went for £34.99 plus postage. But you can get a lot more for these, and I have got a lot more for these. I've sold one more recent than this for quite a bit more than this, but this was back in September. I think I had 2 or 3 at the time, so I guess I put the price down a little bit, but I probably should have held out a bit more, to be honest. But there you go, £35. Next is this issue 1 of Sylvanian Families Marvel comic, and I bought this from a friend of mine now, John, and this was before I really knew John. It's somebody I know from boot sales from Norcross more than anything. He did me a load of Sylvanian Families, and this just happened to be in with it all, and I sold some of it for really good money because it was vintage and some of it was boxed. But this comic was just a bonus really, and I did have it up at loads because nobody else has them out there. I was in such good condition, and it was issue 1, so I figured, hey, maybe it's a bit rare. And it was rare, but it just wasn't really worth that much. I mean, £25, I'm not complaining. I think I paid less than that for all of the stuff I bought of him. But I was kind of hoping it was going to be one of those, you know, really rare, unique items. I think that went to America as well. I've been selling a lot to America this year, in the last kind of 6 months especially. I don't know why. Next is this Atari Blaze little mini console. Got this from Fleetwood indoor boot sale. The one and only time I've been there. I need to go back. Like, we've got some good stuff there. I need to head back there. And I got this with some other stuff bundled all in with a load of games and stuff. I think I paid the equivalent of about 10 quid for this and a little mini one. And this was a good one, Time Crisis. I got $49.99 plus postage on this. And this is like 2 little kind of guns and the game. And I had no idea about these, that there was money in them. I actually got these from a friend of mine who was selling off a load of his own stuff, and he didn't have any idea of the value. I didn't have any idea of the value. I just bought a load of games off him. A lot of them were not really worth much, but gave him a half decent price on it all, and these turned out to be worth 50 quid. And next we got this little kind of, it's a bit like a Tamagotchi, but it's not a Tamagotchi. It's actually made by a company that was based in Fleetwood. I don't know if they're still there or not, but it's like a 90s thing called Cyberpet, Virtual Cyberpet. And this was from Norcross boot sale. And again, this was another one where it was like late on. It wasn't a very busy boot sale, but it was late on in the boot sale, just sat there on somebody's table. I think it was £2, maybe even only £1. Was not a lot at all. I've kind of thought, should I bother? Because, it didn't look much to look at it, but brand new sealed, I figured somebody would have it. And when I got home and I looked into some of these kind of off-brand, they're still branded, but they're just not Tamagotchi branded, like virtual pets, like little, mini kind of video game type things. Some of them are worth really good money. 50 quid. This went off to, I think this went to China, which I don't send things to China very often, but I'm sure that's where this one went. I say there's another item that went for even more than this, same brand, also a toy. I'll get to that in a little bit. This here was from a charity shop in Fleetwood, $59.99 plus postage, and it's brand new sealed. The box was pretty damaged, it's all dented in, but regardless of that, I still aimed high on it. And I don't think I'm going this way, am I? Look at this. This doesn't bode well. I was going to walk all the way around this lake, but if it's all like this, I ain't bothering. Let's head back over the bridges over that way. I hope this is an interesting video for people. As I say, whenever I've done these videos before, people have always said that they really appreciate them. There's a lot of stuff that people didn't know about. I've even had people come back to me and say, from watching your video, I found this or I found that. So that's why I do it. I think it's good to kind of share this information out there. Some people think that it's a bad thing to share this information. I don't see why. I mean, I've learned a lot of what I know from YouTube and from other resellers, and the reselling community is great. Like, you need to kind of tap into it. Is that the right way to say it? You know what I'm saying? I can't even get through here either. But you need to kind of be part of the reselling community in some form, because there's a lot of good information out there for you if you're a reseller. And even if you're not a reseller, it's still good to kind of know some of these things and, follow the trends and keep you up to date with things that are going on and policy changes on eBay and all that kind of stuff. So it's good. I think it's good. And hopefully you've enjoyed the little trip around the Fylde coast. As you can see, the sun is going down behind me. I've not finished yet. I'm going to have to kind of do a second day of this, I think.